College football playoffs are coming to an end here in real life, but we are just beginning our team builder journey here on College Football 25 with the Wyoming State Bison. We're replacing Air Force and we'll be spending the first season or two trying to become the dominant force in the Mountain West before potentially moving on to a better conference and the prospect of a national championship. However, we're also going to be keeping Air Force's roster, so bringing in some top recruits in years 1 and 2 is going to be essential. We're going to build this program into a contender. And head coach Big Morris Mo Johnson is going to have his work cut out for him, trying to put together 10 wins with the year 1 roster. Our quarterback room is severely lacking. 73 overall. John Busher is going to be the starter heading into season 1. Only 85 speed, only 86 throw power, middling accuracy at best. And behind him, we have Quinton Hayes and Josh Johnson battling out for the backup role. We have a respectable running back room and we'll be leaning heavily on them this season. We have Cade Harris, an 87 overall senior, who's going to be our out-and-out starter. We have Aiden Calvert, we have Cade Frew, we have Cale Gibbs, each of whom may play a role this season as well. We have an 83 overall junior at fullback in Dylan Carson. We have basically no wide receivers that can run. Cameron Breyer at 91 speed is our quickest receiver at the moment. And Jared Rosnos at 75 overall is our highest rated receiver at the moment. And our top 3 guys are all seniors. So our best receiver heading into year 2 is currently a 70 overall. Bruin Fleischman looks to be a decent enough option at tight end. And we're probably going to be utilizing our tight ends more often than our receivers in year 1. However, we are going to need to build out this offensive line because we have a 75 overall senior at left tackle, an 82 overall at left guard. However, again, a senior, 66 overall junior at center, a 73 overall senior at right guard, and then a 65 overall junior at right tackle. It's a similar story along the defensive line as well, with the exception of the best player on our team, Peyton Zadroic. Currently an 89 overall, playing up to a 90 because his change of direction at 6 foot 275 is playing up to a 58. He does, however, have 93 strength, 95 awareness, 93 play rec, 91 block shed, and even 86 power moves. This guy is going to be the star of our defense here in season 1 because beyond that, we have very little. Elijah Sanders is a 69 overall. We have a couple of middle linebackers in the 70s, but again, our best guy is a senior. And then we have a 76 overall senior at right outside linebacker. Jamari Bellamy, also one of the better players on our team. However, he is a slot receiver. He is a senior, 84 overall though. And our next 4 guys are also seniors. So heading into season 2, our best cornerback is currently a 63 overall. A couple of low to mid 70s at free safety and the same at strong safety. We have a kicker, we have a punter, they're on the roster. So we may not win too many games here in season 1, but at least we'll look good out there on the field whilst we're losing. Our home and away uniforms each feature the rich blue of the Wyoming state flag, along with a pure white and glistening gold accents. The Herd Edition uniforms embody the program's motto with the horns on the helmets symbolizing the unity of the herd, whilst the all-white Plains Edition represents the vast rolling landscapes of Wyoming. And the all-gold Prospector Edition is a nod to the history of panning and mining in the state. The uniforms feature 3 unique logos, and the program's name is emblazoned across a mountainous sunset in each end zone. And we'll be looking to shape our roster in the image of the team too, building a big, strong, run-heavy offense that can harness the power of the Bison. So we'll be targeting a number of offensive linemen here in Season 1, but I think we're going to have to take a look at a number of defensive backs as well. I don't imagine there are too many 5 or even 4-star prospects who are interested in signing with us or committing to us. So we'll probably be relying on bringing in 3-star recruits here in Season 1. We do have a handful of 4-star prospects who are interested in joining the program though. And they are all pretty much at positions of need. Wide receivers, defensive backs, and offensive linemen. So coming off the bye week and heading into week 1, I don't think we're going to be able to get many of these 4-stars. I think there's a handful that we might be able to bring in though. Rayshawn Cleveland, a 4-star receiver, being one of them. Colorado at the moment are main rivals, but they only have a pipeline tier of 2. Trey Carney, again, I think is another one we could bring in, but we're going to have to go all 50 points on him pretty much for the duration to outbid OSU. And George Pounds is simply a player that we have to sign. A 4-star right guard with the power archetype. It's just too perfect. A lot of these other guys, though, like Rafael, Mateo, like Chad Saturday, Zendejo, Beavers, we're just not going to be able to compete with these big schools, especially since we only have 400 hours to spend. So instead, we're going to be targeting a lot of 3-stars like Eric Fasano, the athlete scrambler at quarterback, 6'4", 202 with 95 throw power, decent enough accuracy and 89 speed. He looks like he could be a really useful addition. We're targeting a number of offensive linemen, and although all of them are tackles, a number of these players could play guard for us. Nick Angel, 6'5", 300. Dean McCleon, we've got Villarreal at 6'4", 323. He could easily shift into guard, as well as Hugh Spears. And beyond that, we just have a handful of players that we've offered a scholarship to, and we are just chucking 5 points down on for now. We are going to be redshirting quarterback Josh Johnson here in Season 1, despite the fact that he is already a sophomore. And the sophomore Quinton Hayes has actually gone up to a 77 overall for some reason. So he's actually going to be our starter heading into week 1. We're also going to redshirt the junior Cade Frew. We're going to have to redshirt, I think, a lot of junior and sophomore players this season, simply so that we've got a roster that we can field in Season 2. So with that, we are ready to get into our slate of games for today's episode. We'll be playing 2 full games per episode using the Heisman version of my realistic settings and sliders, and we'll be using a variety of camera angles, including the broadcast cam, especially on defense. So let's head up to the booth where we'll be taking on FCS East here in week 1. So we will kick to the Astros in the overcast wind and rain to start the game and our season. And as we said, we're going to be utilizing the broadcast cam from time to time here in the course of the series, mostly on defense. A little bit too difficult to use the broadcast cam on offense. We will potentially be able to use it for things like run plays, maybe quick screens and things like that, but anything where we have receivers running down the field, it's almost impossible to use the broadcast cam on. And the Astros run a QB keeper, but it is a 3rd and 10, and we have a chance to force the Astros off the field immediately here on their first drive. And we're going to be looking to Peyton Zadroic to try and blow this one up and force a punt here on the opening drive of the game, and he does exactly that. It's the pressure up the middle from Zadroic that forces the quarterback to leave the tackle box, where he is brought down by number 44. Grant somebody I've no idea how to pronounce that name. I think we're going to pronounce it Yule. I think we'll go with Grant Yule. But on 4th and 17, and it's a short punt as well. It's going to land on the 50-yard line. Catching it might be a good idea, Cade Harris. And we will be running with the Iowa playbook here in Season 1. Cade Harris is going to be our starting running back and our power back to begin the season. He is a receiving back archetype, though, so how long that will last, I'm not sure. We do have Aiden Calvert, the backup running back, who may be more suitable to the power carries out of I-form and the like. And we do have a fullback that can carry the ball as well, but if Cade Harris can move the chains as he has done here on a consistent basis, then I don't see why we shouldn't have him in for pretty much every carry. His injury risk is, however, already high, and we're going to be running the ball early and often, not only in the game but in the series. And we are not going to be putting the ball into Quinton Hayes' hands too often. We'll be asking him to make a handful of big throws per game. But really, we're going to be relying on the run game for the most part. And it's serving us well here as it brings up a 2nd and 7 around midfield. We'll run out of the power eye on this occasion, and there is Calvert. This is why we said he might be better suited for those power run snaps, because we've seen him truck over a guy there. So it's occasions like this where we may ask Quinton Hayes to make a play. We've been running the ball well. Now is the perfect time to run play action. And he just about gets it off. Pressure in the backfield. And a receiver running across the field. Didn't look too open. I think that's going to be the story of the season, to be honest. Our receivers failing to get open. And we will just run a toss play back to the left after the... It's not a toss play, apparently. That was such a good fake that it faked me out. So Quinton Hayes going to have to make a play here on third down. He can move a little. And he will move here, stepping up. And we see the receiver, and he's absolutely sailed him. We had X coming across the field there. Hayes stepping up into the pocket, evading the pressure. But perhaps the rain playing a part there. Absolutely airmailed the receiver, who was open and would have been in almost certainly for a touchdown. But we'll settle for 3. And it's a screenplay. And we are all over it. Blown up at exactly the halfway mark. And it's going to bring up a 3rd and 6. They're going to come out in the flex bone. I wouldn't be surprised to see them throw the ball here on third down, though. So we're going to run man coverage. And we're going to have one of those safeties coming up. That's the opposite way. One of those safeties coming up as a robber. And we're going to play close to the line of scrimmage here. And it's actually going to be a delayed blitz as the running back that we were in man coverage on stayed home. Zadroik in the backfield yet again. Again, it's going to be a story of the season, I believe. We'll have to rely on the senior to be making plays for us because there aren't too many other players on defense that are capable of it. But big number 96 certainly is. And Cade Harris is away. Nothing between him and the end zone. I was not prepared for that. I wasn't even commentating the play. I thought it was just going to be a routine run, especially since Cade Harris is already fatigued. The wear and tear already wearing him down. But it's a huge run for, I think, about 70 yards. As we get in for the score to make it 10-0. And it's actually much more than 70 yards. It's about 85. Snapped on about the 15, and Cade Harris was just gone. So a fantastic way to start the second quarter. And we will take that as well. 5 for 25 Cooper York on the game so far. 5 yards a carry, certainly not bad. But when your entire offense is built to run the ball, you'd certainly be hoping for a little more than that. Again, we're going to be on man coverage on the running back. Anytime the quarterback keeps it, and Zadroik absolutely plants him. Gets him for his 2nd sack of the game. How is that not a sack? How is that not a sack? I'm going to be sure to commentate each and every one of these runs from now on, because Cade Harris, as we've seen, can turn any kind of a rush into a touchdown, and he's almost done it again there. 4 for 139. Absolutely unreal start to the game for Cade Harris. And we will see if Hayes can find a receiver here, as we've got a man underneath. Pressure got in too quick. Again, the receiver was open. Just couldn't get the ball away with Quinton Hayes. But we will take another 3 and go up 13-0 here in the second quarter. It was a bold call from the Astros to bring it out on the return. They only made it to the 10-yard line. And they're only going to get to the 15 on the drive. It's going to bring up a 4th and 14 as Ukul gets in this time for the sack. And we continue to dominate FCS East on both sides of the ball. And we'll have a chance to make it a 3-score game here as we approach the end of the second quarter. And it's Calvert on this occasion trying to turn a power run into an explosive play. Doesn't quite have the speed that Cade Harris has, but rumbles forward for a decent enough gain. Brings up a 1st and 10, and this is certainly a 4-minute drive. We want to while as many of these minutes away as we can, as Harris throws in the spin move, takes it all the way inside the 10. And ideally we want to bring it inside the 2-minute warning before we score here. So we will wait slightly before we snap the ball. And ideally, we don't want to score a touchdown on this particular run with Calvert. And we will just rumble forward for another 5 bring up the 2-minute warning, and at the very least kick a field goal. But ideally punch it in for another touchdown. I see no reason to throw the ball here, though. We will continue to run with the herd. Calvert straight down the middle, absolutely throws a man off him. Didn't even throw him off, just threw in the shoulder. And the FCS defender absolutely planted, absolutely buried, stampeded over the FCS defender did Aiden Calvert. And it will be 20-0 heading into the half. So it's quickly turning into a historic day for Cade Harris. Close to 200 yards rushing in the first half alone. Not sure what the college record is rushing-wise. It must be something outrageous. Perhaps we'll look into that before the end of the game, because Cade Harris, if his second half goes anything like his first half did, surely is going to be within range of breaking that record. Calvert just about squirms away from the first FCS East defender. Can't squirm away from the second. And that'll bring up a 3rd and 10, which we will try to convert with a little screen pass to Harris, which we do manage to find him on. He doesn't quite manage to find the line of scrimmage. Brings up a 4th and 2. And for the first time in the game, we will punt. And Harris could be in for a touchdown here. He makes one man miss. Can't make the second or the third. They do double team him to bring him down at the 2-yard line. But we should be well positioned here to put another touchdown on the board. We do have QB draw. I think we're going to go with QB draw, although the Astronauts line up with 3 down linemen very narrowly positioned. So instead, I think we will audible out of this and try and hit receiver underneath in Cameron Breyer, or just make a play on the move. And again, we just haven't quite put the air under the ball that we needed to, because again, we had a receiver open in the back corner of the end zone. Quentin Hayes unable to find him. So I think we're seeing not only the strengths of this team today, but also the weaknesses. But one of the strengths is literally the physical strength, as Aiden Calvert rumbles in for another touchdown, his second on the game, and he will extend our lead to 26, soon to be 27. An FCS East day goes from bad to worse as they fumble the ball. We return it back to the 8-yard line, and we are going to have a chance to put this game beyond all doubt. I mean, it's pretty much beyond all doubt here already. Deep into the 4th quarter with a 27-0 lead. 2nd and goal from the 1. You have to imagine there's no way back for the Astronauts now, as Calvert can't quite punch it into the end zone on this occasion. Too many defenders for him to stampede over. But we will see if Quentin Hayes, with his, less than 30 yards passing, can get a passing touchdown today at the very least. And he does. Hits Engel in the hands, who manages to hold on through the tackle of 2 Astronauts defenders. And we do finally have a passing touchdown on the season. And it's going to come with, I think, probably exactly 30 yards passing. And it's actually a little more than 30 yards. It's 36 passing yards as we finish the game 41-0. The result was never in doubt. Jamari Bellamy even had a pick 6 at the end of the game. 375 total yards on offense, and we gave up only 79. As Quentin Hayes went just 7 of 15 for 36 yards. Did, of course, have that touchdown, though, and took care of the ball. But 2.4 yards per attempt is not fantastic, and a long of 9 on the game. But Calvert actually ended up carrying more times than Harris. But Cade Harris put up 238 yards on the ground. 76 yard for Calvert. Couple of touchdowns for him and a touchdown for Cade Harris. And I think this is going to be the story of our season. 3 for 14 and a touchdown for Brandon Engel. 1 for 7 for Harris. 1 for 3 for Fleischman. 1 for 9 for Rosnos. And then 1 for 3 for Cameron Breyer. And after that 4 TFL 1 sack game, Peyton Zadroic does pick up Defensive Player of the Week in the Mountain West. Recruitment is ticking along nicely. There's just one guy I'm not really sure what to do about. It's Josh Swenson. 4-star running back who we could be in with a shot on, although Oregon do lead the way, if we invest points. However, we only have 400 hours to work with. They have all been allocated, and we do really need to bring in all of these guys that we've assigned 52. They're going to be important players heading into Season 2, and we do have a big lead on the majority of them. We need to get these guys over the line, bring them in, get them committed as soon as possible to free up those points. So we simply don't have any points left over to assign to the running back. But we do have a lead over Colorado on the 4-star receiver. We have the lead also on the 4-star cornerback as well as the 4-star guard, George Pounds. We actually have a very sizable lead on the quarterback, Eric Fasano. Nobody else has offered him a scholarship. He does have 95 throw power. He is by far the best quarterback that we've looked at. We do definitely want to bring him in. But I think we should be able to afford to take 25 points off him for this week and assign them to the running back. And then we'll see where we stand in week 3 in terms of Oregon, UCLA, Cal, and even Boise State. If we're in his top 5, I think potentially we pursue him and try and bring in the additional 4-star as well. That brings us to week 2, where we're going to be taking on the San Jose Spartans, and we're going to be running out in the Herd Edition uniforms with those horns on the helmet. So a second straight home game to start the season, and a second straight game in the wind and the rain. A second straight game where Peyton Zadroic is going to live in the backfield. After a dominant performance against the Astronauts in week 1, already he is disrupting this Spartans offense, and there he is again to make the tackle. Is there anything this man can't do? I don't think we're going to have quite as much success running the ball today as we did against FCS East. So I think we're going to have to put the ball in the air more times than we did in that previous game. To be fair, in most games, we're going to be putting the ball in the air more often than we did against the Astronauts. And we will just try and hit Cade Harris on the screen here. Try and catch the Spartans on the back foot. And it should work out nicely, particularly if our offensive lineman can get out there to make the block, which he did. It's going to be a gain of about 12 or 13 yards. And already we are in the Spartans' red zone. We've tried these corner routes on a couple of different occasions so far this season. Hasn't really worked out for us at any point, and we don't even get the ball away this time. Hayes buried in the backfield, and it's going to be a loss of 11, bringing up a 2nd and 21. And it's going to take a big conversion here on 3rd down if we're not going to be settling for a field goal, which it very much looks like we are. And it's going to be a kick from 46 yards, which should very much be makeable. And we may have missed it, and we have. Very makeable field goal, but we miss it nonetheless. And it is going to remain scoreless here in the first quarter. So around midfield as we are back out for the second quarter. And we will again start with a run to Cade Harris. Beautiful blocks. I think on 2nd and 2 from the 45. Now is a perfect time to try play action. The safety bails out. We should have the tight end underneath, though, and we've thrown it straight to a Spartans defensive back instead. Quentin Hayes not impressing in this early start to the season. The run game ticking over nicely. Dominating, you might even say. But the pass game, it's a different story. So we are in desperate need of a quarterback who can play for us. Heading into Season 2, we'll continue to give Quentin Hayes opportunities to prove himself this season. But in the few opportunities he's had in this early season so far, he certainly hasn't proven himself. He's proven he can throw interceptions, and that's about it. I mean, to be fair, I think that's actually his first interception of the season, is it not? So actually, maybe I'm being a little bit harsh. It's going to be a 3rd and 1 for the Spartans around midfield. And we are in the backfield again to drive them back for a 2-yard loss. And again, they're going to punt. We've done nothing but punt the ball to each other to start this game. We have reached the Spartans' 35-yard line. But they have managed to bring up a 4th and 1. And again, we are going to go for it here. We are probably just outside of field goal range, to be fair. We have to cut this up inside, and we just about managed to. And we fall over the line to gain with number 2. And we have a receiver in the slot who is completely uncovered here in Rosnos up the seam. And instead we're going to go, I believe, to the tight end, who goes up and makes the grab. Bruin Fleischmann with a huge catch for 31 yards to take us down to the 2-yard line. And this is why I said he's going to be one of our top targets this season. Not the wide receivers, not the running backs out of the backfield, but the tight end. Calvert absolutely drilled, loses a yard. As we approach already the 2-minute warning in the game, we'll allow this to tick under 2:40 so we can tick it all the way down to the 2-minute warning. It's good blocks up front. And Calvert falls into the end zone. So we won't tick it down to the 2-minute warning, but we will take 7 points. So a brave decision to bring it out on the return. And the Spartans make it back only to the 12-yard line. But it's a big run, which gets them all the way up to the 21, brings up a 2nd and 1. All we have to do is maybe not even keep the Spartans off the board here late in the 2nd quarter. I think as long as we keep them out of the end zone, it's going to set us up well. We do receive the ball after the half. We don't even have a man coverage option we can go to. Unlikely the final drive of the first half. And if we can drive on that with Bellamy, I was hoping the quarterback would throw it out into the flat because we were absolutely getting there, and that would have been a pick 6 for sure. His 2nd of the season, Jamari Bellamy, had one against the Astronauts. It's going to be a 2nd and 10, 1:43 on the clock, which does, of course, stop. And it's good coverage, and we get him for the sack. It's Grant Ewell. I imagine that was Detroit there alongside him as well, but Grant Ewell credited with the sack. So a 1.5 minutes on the clock, which will now continue to tick. And it's going to be a 3rd and 21. And we will just commit to the pass and back off, because the Spartans can have pretty much whatever they want underneath. And they do just run the ball. And they get a decent amount back, to be fair, 10 yards. But it will bring up a 4th and 11. So back out for the second half, where we'll look to establish the run game once again through Cade Harris, who picks up 5 on the initial play here in the 3rd quarter. And they're going to crowd the line of scrimmage here, and they're going to play up on Rosnos, our number 1 receiver. So I think we might just try and burn them deep here. Just a single high safety as well. And we're hit whilst we're thrown. And again, it's going to be an incompletion from Quentin Hayes. More incompletions on the season so far than completions, I believe. And with just 2 yards to gain, we will try and pick it up with number 2, I believe, is Engels. And Cade Harris just completely whiffs on the block. And we're at our own 40-yard line. We've been aggressive so far, but I think we're going to have to punt this one away. So the Spartans out of the pistol, trying to get on the board for the first time here. They run the draw, and it's going to be a successful one. And we don't manage to bring the running back down before he converts for another 1st down. And the Spartans are going to move into the hurry-up. And we'll just sit back in Tampa 2. And it's dropped by the receiver. Hit him in the hands. Couldn't bring it in. And we're let off there. And on 3rd and 10, we will show pressure, but we will drop out into cover 4. And they will run the draw, but we are all over it. And it will be yet another punt from San Jose, who continue with their anemic offense to fail to move the ball. We really do need to take advantage here. Our offense hasn't exactly been dominant by any means. And again, I like taking a play-action shot here. At some point, Quentin Hayes is going to have to make a big-time throw. And he'll have the opportunity to do so here, as he looks for the deep dig over the middle. And again, it's a big catch. Jared Rosnos on this occasion. We saw a huge catch from Bruin Fleischmann earlier in the game. But it's an equally important and equally impressive catch from Jared Rosnos. We are finally starting to move the ball through the air, and we may finally have one of those corner routes. But it's undercut. I feel like it's been undercut on every occasion. I mean, Hayes doesn't have the strongest arm, but he really should have a strong enough arm to at least get the ball to the spot. Potentially that 3-star quarterback that we are looking at on our recruitment boards is going to be more necessary to the success of this offense than we initially thought. And the clock will tick down to the end of the third quarter. We may have a touchdown on the board just before that happens. Calvert already scoring his, and Harris walks in for a touchdown of his own. And we will extend our lead as we move into the fourth and final quarter here in week 2. So 3rd and 5 for the Spartans from our 32. Spartans looking to get back into this game, and they will have the completion underneath. We will rally to make the tackle, but not before the Spartans reach the 16-yard line. But it will bring up a 3rd and 12. And again, it's just pretty much a throwaway. Brings up a 4th and 12. The Spartans will be able to narrow the gap, and they will put the first points up against us so far this season. We shut out the Astronauts. We shut out the Spartans for 3 quarters. They do narrow the lead to 11, and they have a chance to go back-to-back scores. As a flag on the play will, I think, bring it back. I think it's actually going to be on Zdroik, and it is. Roughing the passer, which is going to move the ball all the way up to the 33-yard line. That's a huge gain. Not just from the play itself, but from the penalty. And the Spartans now deep into Bison territory with another completion. But we rally to the tackle to just hold it to a 4-yard gain. And I want to press the Spartans at the line of scrimmage on this occasion. Potentially get in with either Zdroik or Palmer off the edge here. And it's a big, big pass breakup by Casey Beard, preventing the Spartans receiver from making the grab, holding the Spartans to just another 3 points. It can, of course, tie the game up with that touchdown and 2-point conversion that we mentioned earlier. But at least we have forced them to need that, rather than allowing them the touchdown, the 2-point conversion, and forcing them to need only a field goal. I think we're going to have to throw the ball a little more on this particular drive. The Spartans, as we almost throw another interception. Our receivers just simply cannot get open. But the Spartans know we want to run the game out. They're stacking the line of scrimmage. They're sending additional pressure. So we're going to have to put the ball in the air. And we do so here. And it is enough to get the first down from Jared Rosnos. 5th reception of the game. Just 45 yards receiving. But he's made a couple of very, very big receptions. We will go back to Aiden Calvert here. Try and pick up a few yards at the very least. We get absolutely nothing. Just want to follow the blocks of our left guards here with Cade Harris. Pick up 3 yards. Tick it down to the 2-minute warning with the next play, which is exactly what we managed to do. Harris even stays on his feet. Gets drilled. And we do not have to snap the ball until the 2-minute warning now. That will, of course, allow us to force the Spartans to use their timeouts. And Harris breaks away and could have a touchdown to seal the game. Do we even want to seal the game here? I think we do. But Cade Harris with a fantastic run. Hits the hole, which again opened up for him. Gets in for his 2nd touchdown of the game. And it's going to be a 3-touchdown game for us, but they all come on the ground. Quinton Hayes with just 1 touchdown through 2 games so far. And it's another big run from Cade Harris, who continues to be the most important player on our offense so far. We've got Peyton Zdroik on defense. We've got Cade Harris on offense. And those two, in addition, potentially to Jamari Bellamy, are the heart and soul of the team at the moment. So we will likely just run the ball one final time and kick a field goal if we don't get the conversion. On 3rd and 4 with Aiden Calvert. We just run straight up the middle and we do get the conversion, and Calvert is still going and walks into the end zone. Well, I say walks, he rumbles, he stampedes into the end zone with the heart and the power of the Bison. And it is going to be 28-6 lead as Jack Burnett goes down injured. Not too fussed about that. I think he's a 65 overall at center. We can certainly do better. But it will be a second straight win to start the season. Cade Harris getting the plaudits, of course. Another 144 yards and 2 additional touchdowns on the game, which is going to take him close to 500 yards receiving, close to 500 yards rushing through 2 games. We do start the season 2-0, but like we said, our schedule is going to get significantly more difficult starting in week 3 as we take on the 1-1 Baylor Bears. We will then have a bye week followed by Wyoming, Navy, New Mexico, Colorado State. A second bye week will be followed by Army, Fresno State, Oregon State, Nevada, and San Diego State. We'll also make a couple more decisions about some of these recruitments because we still have a healthy lead on the quarterback, Eric Fasano, but I don't think we're going to be in with a shout of getting Josh Swenson, so we may well be reallocating these 35 points elsewhere heading into week 3. But that'll do it for episode 1 of our Washington State Bison Team Builder Dynasty mode. Make sure you come back and tune in for episode 2 so you can run with the herd. Take it easy.